There's probably no greater challenge in the world of sports than being the parent of an athlete. Parents have the ability to be a launching pad to help children reach their goals. They have the ability to influence an athlete's overall development. The elite athletes and coaches in this video will discuss how to use that power to really maximize an athlete's potential.
I think the biggest impact today, especially on one-on-one sports, is the parents. I think it's a little less in group sports, because when you look around, you don't see parents out on the football field or out in the basketball field. They may be in the stands, but in tennis, they're much closer and they have much more interaction. It's kind of tough for a parent to go to a big football field and hear what the coach is saying and what's going on. But the parents are very important. That's the bloodline. The trick, if anybody could have a trick, is how can you have the pyramid of the student, the parents, and the coach work together? It does happen. And if you can get that formula to work, you're one step ahead of everybody else.
You know, when they chose for me to go play tennis, they had no intentions of me pursuing that as a career. My dad brought me to a local club when I was 6, and he actually had in mind that when I was 12 or 13, he was going to put me in the volleyball team. Sure enough, by then I was already good enough where he had no doubts in his mind that we should pursue with the tennis career. Having said that, you know, he hasn't played tennis himself. He didn't know much about tennis. So when the chance came for me to be here at the academy and Nick offered me a full scholarship, his only intention was to support me, to keep pushing me. And one thing he did with me was he worked so hard with me off the court, because, you know, volleyball, tennis, very similar agility sports, and that's one thing that he emphasized so much. He said that, you know, Nick and his coaches will take care of you on court, and I want to make sure that when you do have your tennis time, you're going to be better and faster and stronger than the rest of the kids.
I think the biggest thing is just being supportive and let your student athletes be student athletes. You know, first of all, education is important. You know, we'd all be fooling ourselves. I've been very blessed to play as long as I have, but we'd all be fooling ourselves to think that we're all going to be a professional athlete and have an extended career. So, in my opinion, you know what? Get an education. Use the skills in the classroom. Because those skills you think, oh, they're not going to help me. Oh yeah, those disciplines that you have to use in the classroom can help you on the athletic field or on the court. Well, again, it's how you choose to use that or utilize that. And that's important.
My parents were great. You know, they encouraged me to play 3 sports, as many sports as I could in high school. Like I said, I played, you know, all 3 in high school, and they were great. Took me to all my practices and got me there on time, and always tried to get me the best gear, and not too hard on me on pushing me to stick with one sport or play. They just kind of, if you want to play, you play, and I think that's what helped me a lot. They weren't really pushing me to play a sport and this kind of sport, or always, you know, I just kind of, you know, started playing and fell in love with the games, you know, myself, and kind of just, I grew to love them.
My dad was always there to, you know, kind of tell me, you know, things that I could improve, and, you know, that always helped. And I think, you know, it takes a certain level of kind of the balance act, and my mom kind of helped out, and she was kind of, you know, just like, oh, you're doing great, and, you know, we're proud of you. So they kind of balanced it out, and then I kind of learned how to adapt and how to, you know, take some things from my dad and then take certain things from mom, and just do the best I could.
I've seen parents, you know, going through youth football especially, who kind of coddle their kids. Like I said, my dad would always be like, you know, good enough is never good enough. Or you have the parents who are just giving their kids a pat on the back and be like, you're the best, you know, you're there, you're doing it. And you know, I feel like sometimes they think that they're giving their kids what they need in terms of, like, you know, like I said, positive reinforcement. But you got to pick and choose. You got to give the kid, I feel like, reinforcement when it's deserved. So you know, sometimes I feel like the overly coddling the kid sometimes negatively influences them because it makes them less of a hard worker.
You know, I'm lucky. I had good parents that always pushed me to be my best, but at the same time didn't demand too much. I think a lot of times parents can overstep their bounds a little bit and expect a little too much of a son or daughter. But you know, I think the right balance is necessary, because if you take the back seat and just let the kid do whatever they want, you know, that's the reason we have parents to kind of keep us in check. And you know, so there takes balance. You know, a little push every now and then, but also be proud of whatever your child succeeds at, because it might not always be the thing that you want them to succeed at.
Parents have their own desires too. I don't think any good parent says, I don't want my kid to be first. And so that being said, my biggest advice that I could give parents is just to be supportive. Allow your kid to make mistakes and to make their own decision. Even if they're under 13, they do have their own mind, and they need to go out there and through trial and error figure out what is best for them.
At the end of the day, it's important for a parent to remember that the best formula for success is positive support and unconditional love, regardless of how the athlete performs.